right, welcome back to Reality Football. You could be watching us right now. You could be listening to us on online radio or our podcast. Either way, we appreciate it. So if you're watching the video, you can see behind me, we have the Jeopardy set here. And we talked about earlier, paying a little bit of homage to the now late Alex Trebek, all the years he hosted Jeopardy. So we said we'd work in a few Jeopardy style answers throughout this episode. So I got one here for you guys. So here's an answer. This team has only allowed one sack or fewer in 8 of their last 9 games this season, which is the best in the NFL.
Who are the
You
Cleveland
have
Indians?
the correct question. Huh?
Who are the Cleveland Indians?
Incorrect. It is not the Cleveland Indians. No.
Who is
Skinner, do you have a question?
Who is Cincinnati Bengals?
Also incorrect. The question we were seeking is who are the Green Bay Packers? And
The Packers.
today, Rodgers had another great game, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he is the top-ranked quarterback, at least through the early games today. So, obviously you keep him upright. And this is also, by the way, so the Green Bay 7-2 now for the second consecutive season. They're 7-2 starting out the season. We know last year they made the playoffs, so we're just, killed by the 49ers. But anyways, you keep him protected. Green Bay is going to win a lot of games. So
Yeah, how about that wide receiver, Valdez Scantling? Hadn't heard much about him. He went off for
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
he went off for 149 yards today, and he had a 78-yard touchdown catch and run early in.
Yeah.
I think it was early in the second quarter. Pretty damn good day for that guy. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty good all year.
Okay.
I've been hearing his name a lot. So,
Okay. We first game on the slot was the game that I think it was Thursday night. Indianapolis went into Tennessee and just gave them a licking.
Yeah, and another one I missed. I picked the Colts or the Titans to win the game. They're another team who I don't recognize from week to week. They look like world beaters one week, and then the next week it's like, what the heck happened? You got, in my opinion, the most powerful weapon in all of football, Derrick Henry. And Tannehill was playing outstanding quarterback play. They're playing a great defense. They got one heck of a coach. I don't know what's wrong with this team. And they lost to a team who, we talked about the Colts last week. They might be that sneaky team that gets up in there.
Right.
And but Phillip Rivers, man, is just I wouldn't trust Phillip Rivers with a bag of Snickers. But they let this guy pass for 300 yards, and oh well.
We talked about them last week, meaning Indianapolis Colts, and you asked me if I was sold on them, and I told you then I don't know who they are, and I still, even after today or this past week, I still don't know. Like you said, if we can trust them as one of the teams. They're in the playoff hunt, obviously at 6-3, but a team that are they really a sleeper team, or are we still yet to see who they are?
I think 2 more weeks to tell us what we need to know. Fish?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's the same Phillip Rivers story. I mean, if he plays smart football, which he's more than capable to do, then he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So as long as he continues to play smart, the Colts should be right in it. They have a decent defense, right? So they got some weapons there. So
yeah.
Well, the Colts gave up some really good players. I'm grateful because they gave up their tight end Ebron to the Steelers, and he's killing it over there. So, oh well, we'll see. Let's run through a couple of these quick guys. Browns low scoring affair today with the Texans. The big story in that game was 2 big stories. One was the weather, and 2 was Nick Chubb. But don't slight Kareem Hunt too, because he had an outstanding day as well. Browns running game, watch out for it. Go ahead.
No, I'd say 230 total yards on 38 carries between the two guys. I mean, they were 90
You'll, you'll,
carries each.
you'll win some football games like that.
And with
You'll
the
win a lot of
weather,
games.
it tied in perfectly with the weather being so crappy.
Exactly.
They pounded the ball on the ground and they had great results with that.
Washington came close, but no cigar. They lost to the Detroit Lions. Neither one of those guys are at 500. We'll keep going. We talked
Yeah,
about,
interesting. But if you saw the game, that was exciting for Detroit. By the way, they kicked Matt Prater for Detroit kicked a 59-yard field goal to win the game. Last play of the game for Detroit.
oh, okay. Great
Okay,
goal.
I didn't realize he kicked a long one like that to win now.
Neither did I.
Mhm.
Okay. We won't talk about the Eagles and Giants. We talked about that. Buccaneers. So they dropped 46 today
Mhm.
on Carolina. Carolina's not known for any great defense. Who is it closer to? Buccaneers. Are they closer to last week or this week?
What do you mean? Are they closer to the
team
bad team they showed last week or the good team this week?
Yes.
I think honestly they're closer to the good team this way. I'm actually not familiar with this Ronald Jones guy as much for Tampa Bay, but he had a huge day rushing. So
Yeah.
he is he had a 98-yard touchdown run. He's only the fourth player in history to
Yes.
achieve that. So he hit
Right.
that hole strong and just outran everybody for that touchdown. So and then Tom Brady, another big day today, 3 touchdowns, 341 yards passing. So I think that's closer to the team they're capable of versus the Saints is having their
As
number.
long as they're trending forward, I think they're the scariest team in the NFL. Your running back is your third wide receiver is Antonio Brown. Wow. Really,
So
people?
So are you afraid of them going down the stretch because of Tom Brady or as a team in whole? Because just Tom Brady and
Who you calling afraid? Wait, who you calling afraid, man?
I said Tom Brady himself, is that why everybody's afraid of how Tampa Bay is going to be towards the end of the year just based on his history? Or
Well, obviously Brady's
gelling?
playing. Yeah, it's the whole package. I mean, think about it. This team is loaded with dynamic players, especially offensively, top to bottom. Not only offensively, but your backups. You know what I'm saying? If your second string wide receiver goes down, his replacement is Antonio Brown. If the guy who just ran a 98-yard run today goes down, his backup is Leonard Fournette. So this is a team that has depth, and depth is very important at the latter part of the season. So when your backups are that dynamic and that capable, it's a team to watch for.
Okay.
Yeah, and Brady just continues to. We got to get on the Tom Brady health plan or something here, guys.
You ain't kidding, buddy.
Man, this guy. So I another great stat on NFL.com today. So he turned 41. He's played 13 games since he turned 41. In those 13 games, including today, he's now had 3 games. I take that back. He has 13 games. I beg your pardon. 13 games since he's turned 41, where he's thrown for 3+ touchdown passes. So
we got to get on TB12, all 3 of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. You guys can't walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing.
What? I can't move my mouse on my computer. I'm exhausted.
All right, what else today? Go ahead.
Dolphins won. Tua had a nice day. Justin Herbert was rather pedestrian, but he didn't throw any picks. He had a good, solid day. He plays good, but the whole team's not playing up to par, so they lose again. But Tua got him 6-3, man. He's 3-0 as a starter, so happy for him. We talked about the Cardinals Bill crazy game. The Bills are still 7-3, but it's a crazy AFC where everybody is 6-3 in the hunt. Most teams around that area, 7-3 or 7-2, 6-3. So this was not a good loss for them. The Cardinals still not at 500, but they play good football. So the interesting game for me today, guys, which really messed me up, was the Rams-Seahawks game, because it puts the Rams back in the mix, and it really scratches your head about Seattle now. I'm going to tell you, when we're going to be doing our top 5 here, I had to go scratch Seattle where I had them and take them out of there after today.
Right.
Defensively, they've got some serious issues. And Russell Wilson, who looked like Superman, is really starting to make some turnovers and make some mistakes here lately.
Yeah, he had a couple picks today and a couple passes that I saw in the highlights that you're like, what the heck's he doing? That doesn't look like Russell Wilson whatsoever. But
No,
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, the Rams defense, if I read the stat right, they are allowing the fewest yards, if I read the stat correctly, but they're allowing the fewest yards defensively and the fewest touchdowns as well. So, yeah, they have a pretty good defense over there. So,
Yeah.
Russell Wilson was playing the best football in the game. They had a decent running game, and Metcalf looked unstoppable. I don't know what's going on in Seattle, but they better get it fixed quick.
Yeah.
Metcalf had two catches for 28 yards today. That's it.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, guys, the Saints beat the 49ers. 49ers lose again. Saints are now 7-2. Saints were looking like a normal football team earlier in the season. They got healthy. They were looking outstanding. They come in today, and Drew Brees gets hurt. He's got to have an MRI as well, rib area, but they still pull it off. I think the Saints is another team that we better start paying more attention to, Skinner.
Yeah, depending on what the injury is with Drew Brees, if it's just a nick and he'll be back next week, yeah. But if he misses any length of time, more than a couple weeks, they may fall back to the average. But yeah, depending on his health at the end of the year, they may be a team that we see at the end of the year.
Yeah, and Fish, the 49ers are going to be in a great position because they're going to lose a lot more games, and they're going to get a great draft pick. This team is already stacked top to bottom. They just got the biggest injury list I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's just not looking like to be their year between, like you say, the injuries and unfortunately guys coming down with COVID and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they're going to, I mean, again, we talked about this before. Do you think that they're going to try to draft quarterback this year? I mean, or too soon to tell, 49ers?
Well, I don't know what they're going to do with that huge contract them idiots gave Garoppolo. So I don't know if they have opportunity to get a more dynamic quarterback, which is what they need. They need dynamic quarterback play. I would see them doing it, but they've got to look to the future with strapping themselves with cash too, because they're going to have to pay all that guaranteed money to Garoppolo. And but they have a great defense. One of the best players in the league, Bosa, he was out. Sherman is out. I mean, lots of great players. Pro Bowlers are out, so they're going to be back.
Yeah,
but they've got to get great quarterback play. But listen, I can't knock Garoppolo. He went to the Super Bowl. You get to the Super Bowl. Hey.
Yeah, I think you put a cast of characters that are healthy around him, he's going to still be their quarterback. I know we talked about it a little bit last week, and you asked me my thoughts on that being one of those teams that I watch, but you compound the fact that he has a huge contract money-wise. When he does have a full cast of characters, he's a really good quarterback. He's above average, and like you said, he's a Super Bowl. So they may not be a quarterback.
Of always getting hurt.
This is a perfect storm for them because they're going to get a high draft pick with what's happening this year. We'll see what it is. Running back, wide receiver. I don't see it being a quarterback just because of what we talked about. But if they get one playmaker to add to that cast of characters that are healthy next year.
You got two great running backs. You know what they needed? A receiver. They got good receiver, but they need a dynamic receiver.
Yeah, they find a playmaker as a
best tight end.
Yeah,
they have the best tight end in the game next to Kelsey.
Kittle to me is probably the best in the league when he's healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
That man doesn't shy away from a tackle. I've never seen
Right.
a tight end like him before in all these years. He'll run anybody over. He don't care who it is.
49ers are loaded. They'll be back. They will be back.
Yeah.
And okay, guys, the last game,
Okay.
AFC North battle, my Steelers criticized last week for a poor showing in Dallas. To me, I think it was a great showing because they should have lost, but they still won it. Man, they put a whooping on Cincinnati today, 36-10. Again, Big Ben, 333 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He's only got 4 picks of the year. If he's not comeback player of the year, I don't know who is. But the Steelers are now 9-0. And before we get to our top 5, I just want to talk about this for a minute because this undefeated thing is driving me crazy.
Well,
I can't wait for them to
real quick,
lose.
before you get to your rant? I know you're going into your rant, but they are 9-0 after today. First time in franchise history. Keep that in mind as you're going through your.
Well, they were 8-0. They were first time in franchise history. 8-0.
Yeah, so 9-0 to.
I can't wait for them to lose, and want them to lose badly, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, and then I'm going to give you my caveat why I hope they don't lose at all, because them going undefeated is not going to happen. Okay, I don't need you to have a lull at the wrong time, like in the playoffs. I don't need some team to figure you out at the wrong time, like in the playoffs. You need to lose a game so that you can be shown, so teams can know where your weaknesses are, how to beat you. So you can look at your team and say, this is where we're weak, and let's fix it. Everybody's bringing their A game every week because they want to be the ones that beat the Steelers. And 2, I think it's fool's gold. 1, we're being one-dimensional. If it's not for being throwing 300 yards and all these dynamic young receivers, what do we got besides a great defense that capitalizes in turnovers? We can't run the football, and we can't stop the run. That is not going to make it through the AFC North. I did my rant about moving the chains and why that's important, and I think that's where we're going to get caught at when we run into an Andy Reid or maybe a Baltimore in the playoffs or something like that. So I'm tired of everybody talking about, oh, we're 8-0, we're 8-0, we're 7-0, we're 9-0. It means absolutely nothing. What it means is you can get caught believing your own press. Winning doesn't tell you anything about your football team. Losing does. So I'm looking for the Steelers to lose a game. I can't wait to get rid of this undefeated streak. So it's not the topic anymore. It's not the headline. And we can see where we need to fix things before the playoffs start. But that's been my big whole thing throughout all of this. Everybody's talking about undefeated. When you know this team's not going to go undefeated the whole year. So why are you talking about it? But we got to go ahead.
Tomlin, I was just saying, Tomlin doesn't strike me as a type of coach that really is going to even attempt to achieve an undefeated season if he doesn't think it's for the betterment of the entire, of the entire season. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. I don't know if they feel the pressure that they have to go undefeated. I don't know. I think New England, as they got closer to, 13, 14-0, I think for them it started to creep in a little bit. And obviously they lost in the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I just don't know that's going to happen with Pittsburgh. So
iron sharpers. Go ahead, Skinner.
You were talking about the running game, and I looked up the stats for today. Against a bad Cincinnati running defense, they only ran 44 total yards for the day.
That's ridiculous.
James Conner 36 yards, and Benny Snell had 12 yards.
Okay, so now let's say we're playing Cleveland in the playoffs. Compare running games. You got Ben in this dynamic offense. They're nothing if they're on the bench because Cleveland's on a 10-minute drive running the football down the field.
And that's what's going to happen if they run into a Baltimore that can run, Cleveland Browns that can run. Hell, even KC, they can even show that they can run the ball when they need to. They can score quick, but they can also run and do everything just like the NFC North.
Right? Yeah, don't forget KC added Le'Veon Bell a few weeks ago too.
Yeah, No kidding. So yeah, if they don't figure out the run defense, they don't figure out how to run the ball themselves. They're gonna.
KC's got Le'Veon Bell. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram, and the Browns got Chubb and Hunt.
I know you don't want to hear this, but if they don't figure out the running game before the end of the season, it's going to be another one and done playoff season.
Hey, I don't want to hear it, but it's just the truth. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you do to try to fix it right now, this late into the game. But I think you're going to have to offset just throwing the ball and use those running backs coming out of the backfield. But the play calling is horrendous because of the lack of running game. I saw 3rd and 5 today. Instead of trying to get the first, they threw it deep. Then they have 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. They couldn't get the first down. And they passed it on every single down. You can't win like that, man. If you can't run the ball 3rd and 1 and get a first down, forget it.
The tall tale for me is going to be the game against Cleveland here at the end of the season. That's going to be the telling of who Pittsburgh really is. Yeah.
Well, the Ravens are here too.
Well, yeah, but not so much because they played the Ravens well, but they beat the hell out of Cleveland because Cleveland had no running. They didn't have much of a running game because of Nick Chubb being out. They didn't have Teller on the front line that was blocking. I mean, they didn't have the tight end because he had the appendectomy. So when Cleveland plays healthy against Pittsburgh here in a few weeks, that's going to tell Pittsburgh Nation who their team really is because they're going to play a totally different AFC North running team in Cleveland. And if they can't stop them or can't get on the field to throw their 335 yards passing, that's going to be a completely different game than the first one.
It's going to really tell something, isn't it?
Hey, by the way, a fun fact of Cleveland and Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken, it was 1 year ago today was the Myles Garrett incident.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did
good
see
times.
that.
Good times in Cleveland sports history today. Yeah. Who do you got tonight? Who do you got tonight? Ravens or Pats? Any way the Pats can compete tonight?
Well, you never be totally absolutely sure when it comes to Bill Belichick. You never doubt him. Sure they can, but I got the Ravens.
We did the picks earlier in the week and didn't really put weather into the factor. But as the weather went through Ohio today, it's there in the New England states now tonight for this game.
Oh,
that's
different.
Who's going to be the running? It's the run defense.
Yeah,
going to tell who wins this game. It's close right now. It's 10-7.
I really can't call it, Fish. I can't call it. I can go either way. I picked the Ravens, but I wouldn't be shocked if I had won it.
3 days ago, it was Ravens head, without a question. But now with the weather,
but the Ravens back against the wall though. They can't afford to lose another AFC game, and they sure can't afford to fall back even further to AFC North.
Right.
Because Cleveland is on their butt. And the Steelers are pulling away. So they're playing desperate football tonight.
But they are. Go ahead. I say they're playing Hoodie, who knows how to win games in bad weather, no matter who, no matter who his personnel is. So, yeah, this is gonna be a fun one to watch. I'm interested to see who wins this game tonight.
Did you say Lamar Jackson was? You say it's a weather factor? That's what you were saying was the main factor tonight.
Yeah, they're getting the weather that came through here earlier in the day in Cleveland, Ohio. That's postponed the game for almost 40 minutes. I think it's in New England.
I'm sorry. So as long as Lamar Jackson's playing, I still got Baltimore. I saw a great stat for him today. He's started now for 30 games in his career. He has won 25 of those 30 games, which is tied for the most in the Super Bowl era in NFL history.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I think he'll do even better than that once he starts combing his hair. So
yeah. Yeah. Let's take a look at your wig there.
Oh my God.
Do you really want to do that?
And okay, so some fans on internet, radio, and otherwise might be hearing us tomorrow, and we got the Vikings and Bears tomorrow, guys. So who do you like in the Monday night game?
Bears seem to be going backwards. The Vikings seem to have found new life through
Cook.
Oh yeah, and I think he's going to continue to run well for them. However, I just don't see the Bears losing another one. I got Chicago.
Now, see, I went with Cook and then Minnesota going into Chicago and punching them in the mouth. Like you said, Chicago.
I got I got the Vikings.
That's yeah, because I got Chicago going backwards just like you. Minnesota, we talked about it last week, and we may have talked about it the week before with Alvin Cook. Is he the new life that they needed there? So with that being said, yeah, I like Minnesota in that game. So
All right, guys.
Yep.
Go ahead, Fish.
Well, I'll thank you. I'll give you my thoughts there. Good. I'm joking. So Bears defense about the best in rush allowance, but yeah, I tend to agree. Dalvin Cook is kind of on a roll. Although Kirk Cousins 0-9 on Monday nights in his career, but it's certainly not all those games are with Minnesota. So I'm going to go with Minnesota as well Monday night.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right, fellas. Well, this comes to our last segment before we say our adieus. We've got our power rankings, for lack of a better phrase. We're going to do our top 5 power rankings. We'll start with you, Fish, if you would. Give us your top 5. If you want to start from 5 up to 1 or 1 to 5, you let us know. But who do you think are the top 5 teams in the NFL right now?
Boy, I wrote these down even before the end of the some of the games earlier, so it's gonna be think. Anyway, so
that's gonna make it interesting.
Well, I'll just go 1 to 5. I got Kansas City. I think Kansas City is still the Super Bowl champs until they're not. But 7-1. Pat Mahomes playing, still playing great football. Pittsburgh number 2. Again, beating the teams they should beat. Well coached. Roethlisberger, comeback player, like you said earlier. I had Buffalo number 3, but it took that miracle from Kyler Murray to beat them today. So I still think, though, they're playing overall some of the better football with Josh Allen. And then talked about this off camera a little bit. Who's the best now? Saints with their victory. I actually had them 4th overall. Probably the strongest team in the NFC. All the way around at the moment. And then I got the edge on Green Bay at the moment with Aaron Rodgers play. So again, some of the stats we talked about earlier in this segment, you keep Aaron Rodgers protected. Packers doing a great job of that for the most part. So he's going to win you a lot of games. So that's my top 5 at the moment.
Not bad. I can't argue with a lot of those. What do you got, Porter?
So, Fish, where did you feel about Seattle in that whole mix?
I don't know. I mean, it's just like you kind of mentioned earlier. I mean, Russell Wilson earlier, heck, even a couple of weeks ago, was playing at an MVP level. But he's, like you say, he's had a couple turnovers here of late that's cost him some games.
Okay,
seems more mortal. But I don't know. They're still top 10. I think still a playoff team at the moment. But I don't think I think they kind of moved out of the elite teams at the moment for me.
I also noticed you didn't have Tampa Bay in there at all either.
Again, close. I think they're within a couple teams within the top 5 for me as well. Again, strong playoff contender. They'll be in. There's no question about it. They'll be in the playoffs, and they'll at least get to the second round probably. Right. So, yeah. Okay. But yeah, what do you got?
Well, at number 1, I had the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the current champs, and they still look the part. The thing that's scary about them now, 2 things stand out to me. 1, they're playing great defense, and 2, they added Le'Veon Bell. So, on offense, they're just as dynamic and unstoppable as they were last year. And I think by the time playoffs come, Le'Veon Bell will be integrated into that offense. And watch out, they're going to be really something to deal with. Yep. And number 2, I had the New Orleans Saints. I think with what they did to Tampa Bay shows that the healthy guys that they brought back, Drew Brees, get Michael Thomas back, able to extend the ball downfield again. And so that when you do that, that makes Kamara, who Kamara is number 1 yards from scrimmage right now. So he's still a weapon. I think the Saints are right back there in the mix as a very dangerous football team. And they play great defense too.
Okay.
Yep.
Number 3, I had the Packers just for the simple fact that Aaron Rodgers and those receivers are unstoppable. They hold on to the ball a very long time, which keeps your offense on the bench. And they look really, really, really good. They put up a lot of points. That's really important. So I like the Packers. 4th, I had Pittsburgh. The reason why I got Pittsburgh so low, even with the undefeated record, I look at this team and we haven't had a 100-yard running game in about 4 games now. And even with this wide receiver flurry, it hasn't been a high scoring affair. Now, if it had been 30 points, 40 points in these last few games going all passing, that would have been different. But we had some low scoring affairs, barely getting out of Dallas, things like that. So I just looking at the eye test, I thought if the playoffs started today, if they faced the wrong team, like we talked about with Cleveland, with the running game today, it could possibly be a one and done. So I had to put them at 4. The next couple of weeks will tell me a lot about my football team, and maybe things will be different. And then last, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I think that the Ravens have had a couple of hiccups, but I think that they're going to get back to being who they are. Lamar Jackson has not been Lamar Jackson, but he's human. He's young. That stat you just said was an outstanding stat. I think that they're going to get back to dominating in the NFL, and I got them at 5.
I gotcha. Well,
All right.
we're running out of time here. I've got KC number 1. I got Pitt 2, Green Bay 3, Buffalo 4, and Baltimore 5. And it really is all the same reasons you both have just said. KC is the reigning champion until they get knocked off and they lose. Yeah, they lost to Vegas, but they're still a cream of the crop, in my opinion. I do have Pittsburgh at number 2, but they're going to really tell us who they are here in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Green Bay, Buffalo, and Baltimore. So with that being said, Porter, how do you reach the show? If you have a comment or if you want to get into a segment that we do dear to our hearts is dude, who's tripping?
Okay, well, I'm going to go and tell you that, but I just want to say real quick, in my list, the 3 teams that are lingering right outside that top 5 are Buffalo, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. They could easily get their way inside there. Okay, so if you disagree with anything that we said, if you want to be on the show or whatever it may be, you can email us at realityfootball1@gmail.com. We are also on Facebook, and we're also on YouTube, and you can go to hashtag realityfootball1 to get us on the Facebook page. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And
So-
YouTube as well. It's the quickest way to find us.
Yeah,
Hashtag realityfootball1. That's correct.
Absolutely.
On some of those other social medias, Fish, how do they find us on TikTok and Instagram and all those other ones, Twitter, all those ones that need.
Yes, we are on TikTok. You can just look for us at Reality Football on TikTok.
Okay.
Just look for our Reality Football logo that put together by Coach Cooper. And we are on Instagram. You can look for us at Reality Football on Instagram. The actual name is Reality Football _330, our local area code.
Okay.
And give us a follow there. And you can also find us on Twitter if you'd like to find us over there as well. But again, the main platforms we use, as you guys already mentioned, videos are on YouTube and Facebook. And also you can hear us, a podcast version of this same episode and all of our episodes, recent episodes, I should say, on your major podcast platforms. Just look for the Reality Football Podcast. You can look for our logo with the microphone. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can also listen to us on your favorite home device, your home assistant device, Alexa, etc. And you can hear the online version of radio show at WMVU.org, as we mentioned earlier in the show. Of course, if you're listening to us there, you're already listening to us right now, but you can hear us there Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, on the Global Online Radio.
All right.
All right,
guys.
before we hang up. Hey, Skinner, I want my wacky wager, man.
Yeah, we've got to get that when this COVID lets us get out again. We'll definitely have to take care of that. Hey, fellas, we are up against it. It is the end of the show. I appreciate all your insight, and fans,
Good to see you guys.
thanks for listening and watching, and have yourself a great
Doing our 1, 2, 3.
on 1, 2,
1,
3.
2, 3.
One,
Get
Get
better.
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 All right, folks. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Hustle hard for that great life. Tell them it's not the money, it's that feeling when you take flight. It's time to go, we got that green light. Homie, it's not the money, it's that feeling when you